Welcome to the Main Character Podcast. I am your host, Brandon Hamblin, main character of my own story. But this podcast isn't about me. It's about you, and all of you. Every person that has ever lived on this planet, all 8 billion people here now, all that came before us, and all that will come hereafter are the main characters in their own story. My aim is to interview people that embody living in their energy and discovering from their perspective what their perception of reality is like. Buckle up. You're about to experience the world through another main character's eyes. Have you listened to any of them?
I listened to Brittany's.
Okay. And Brittany, her and I, like, some of mine are somber and serious. And me and Brittany were like laughing and giggling and just like nerds the entire time.
You guys related so well to each other.
You
found kindred spirits in each other.
It was great. It was fantastic. When she said, I was like, I think you're me in male form.
Yeah.
Oh, I just need a blonde wig. I'm good. Let's go. And a Tesla, apparently. I don't know if mine would be purple, though. Okay, so when did you get the Tesla?
We got it. My husband actually got it for me as a surprise
for
my birthday last year.
Oh, I love that.
So I was always a Subaru girl. And
that makes sense.
If we're being entirely honest, that is actually more my personality.
Okay, yeah.
But I've always loved purple, and my husband is a sweet, thoughtful man, and he has taken that one fact, and it has become everything.
Oh.
So now everything is purple, and it's been really fun. And it's actually kind of liberating in a way to be an adult and be like, there are no rules against having a purple car. So why not?
Why not?
Why not get a Tesla and wrap it in purple?
Right.
We had thought about getting a Tesla, and I had always kind of thought when we bought our first car together as a couple that we would really talk about it and labor over this decision. And we had thought about getting a Tesla, and we loved the idea of not having to go to a gas station, mostly just for the convenience of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the Tesla has so many creature comforts for its price point.
Oh,
we really, really loved that too.
Yeah.
And so Keaton was just like, well, that's enough for me. So then he got it.
Sold.
He wrapped it in purple himself with a friend who does it.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was the most
talent.
amazing surprise. I was genuinely surprised. I don't know how he can hide a car.
Yeah.
But he did it.
That's so sweet.
It was very sweet.
Oh, I love that.
So thoughtful.
Well, and there's a point in there that I love of us guys, like, just what's the thing you like? Oh, that's it? Oh, cool. Okay, I'm riding that wave as long as I can until you're like, you need to stop.
At first I was kind of like, this might be too much. But now it is almost slowly becoming my personality. That was a joke at first. Like, purple is going to become who I am. Yeah. But now I sort of love it.
Okay,
even
so
more than I did before.
I'm curious about that. What does purple represent? Why do you associate
that's
with?
Such a good question. I don't know. Maybe it's that it is still a feminine color.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like pink, but I really love purple.
Yeah.
I am someone who has always been really tall, really athletic, maybe felt a little insecure about if I was feminine enough, if I was petite enough. Growing up, when you're taller than literally everyone, you just want to be this small petite girl that you see in the
a lot
movies.
of people end up punching over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's never been me. I've always been bigger, stronger, taller.
Yeah.
So maybe purple is just the stronger of the female colors, but it still lets me feel feminine.
I love that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just made that up. I don't know.
Purple is traditionally royalty.
Yeah.
Right. And so it is. And you carry yourself so well, and you are so elegant. And so that you could totally have a purple robe on, and it would fit perfectly. So that makes sense. Right. That's like the kindergarten question of, well, what's your favorite color? Yeah. And then people, well, I like orange, and it's like, yeah, you do. Yeah, and everybody, okay, so that person has a very, lively personality, very bright, all over. Or blue, and they're just, it could be something happy, but maybe they're a little bit more chill. But purple, it stands out, and it's strong, and it's still feminine, and it's all those things.
Good. Well,
I love that.
That makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever thought that much about it, though, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
It's just been color.
My mother-in-law also loves purple. And she, again, very elegant lady. when they had their 40-acre horse ranch, and I have a feeling we're going to get into some of that stuff. She named the farm Amethyst Arabians.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And they have like family jewelry that's amethyst that they pass down. And I think Rachel has a couple rings from like her great grandma, something, but these big, gaudy, awesome amethyst rings.
Yeah. Oh, so cool.
Yeah. So I'm curious on the purple Tesla. You do a lot of, athletic, very active, outdoors.
Yes.
You drove here in the snow, and that's the one thing I'm like, okay, those electric batteries. Have you had any issues getting around in the cold? I mean, it was -5 the other morning. Any issues there? And what about when you go up to the mountains and everything? Are you still rock it? Yeah,
we take it. We have found, so I know we'll get into this too, but I grew up in Wyoming, and the snow is different there. It's not as wet and
it's not as
heavy
wet.
as it is
Okay.
here.
Yep.
So
it's
cars
fluffy.
already handled differently on this snow than they did on the snow I was raised in.
Yeah.
So sometimes the Tesla will do a little slide or something, and I'll think, oh, would my Subaru have done the same thing? Is it the Tesla that just made that slide?
Or is it the snow?
Yeah, or is it the snow is different? But for the most part, it's done great. I mean, we've taken it up Lookout Pass to ski Lookout.
Yeah.
We've taken it to Schweitzer many, many times, and it does fine.
It's
rocks. Heavy because it's an electric vehicle. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I think especially the tires that a Tesla comes with they do not have very deep tread. So especially if we splurged and got snow tires for the Tesla, it would be phenomenal. I think.
It would just rock it.
The battery, it has to stay warm enough to function, so it does run out a bit faster when it's really cold.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But we park in the garage and charge it at night.
And
so
you're good to go. Do you have a supercharger thing in the jig?
No.
Or is it just the...
It's just a plug-in.
Yeah, it's the plug-in.
It takes all night to charge it.
Yeah, that works.
It works fine.
Brittany and I met one time and she goes, I'm at the supercharger. I'm like, wait, where? It's, what's the, oh gosh, the, have you been to that new crab place? It's on 95? No? Yummy Crab?
Yeah, I've seen the sign though.
There's like a bunch of Tesla chargers behind that. It's the weirdest. I'm like, okay. But
I've never actually used a charger out in the world yet.
Oh, out
aside from the airport.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
The airport in Spokane has free charging for Teslas.
Oh.
And we've learned that the Tesla charging spots are like prime spots.
Right, and not a lot of people take them up.
Not a lot. So if you have a Tesla, you go and you find these EV spots, you get front row parking and free charging. Thank you, Spokane.
Yeah, seriously.
Or maybe it's Washington. I don't know.
Oh, the Spokane airport. I love the Spokane airport.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Unlike coming over from the west side of Washington, where SeaTac is like top 5 worst airports in the country.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Good job. Good luck getting through TSA. Where here, you're like,
yeah.
Hi, I'm through. Oh, that was easy. I didn't even have time to get my shoes off. So, okay. So there's so many different directions we can go here. Let's do activities first. So ski.
Yes.
What are your other winter outdoor activities or indoor?
So before we moved here, my husband and I loved backcountry skiing.
Oh.
And so that was our main thing. So you're putting skins on your skis. You have a backpack and a beacon and an avalanche shovel and probe. And you're skinning up a mountain, and then you transition at the top, clip your heels in, transition your boots, and then ski down.
So you have to carry... Oh, do the boots themselves like transform, or do you have to bring another set of boots?
So it's like a ski boot that has articulation at the ankle, and then when you get to the top, you lock the ankle down, and then you lock the boot down into the bindings that also transition.
Yeah, that's fun.
So that's the thing we love the most.
What do you love about it?
Well, there are no lines.
Yeah.
The snow is perfect every time.
Yep.
It's so quiet and peaceful, and you're getting a good workout in. You really feel like you've earned your turns by the time you're back at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Our dog can come. I mean, there are so many things we just really loved about it. And the access in Jackson, where we were living, is so easy. You can drive up the mountain pass, and then you just take a forest road, and you're on the ridge that you then see.
And you're
down.
there.
So, I mean, it was, and everybody does it in Jackson.
Oh,
everybody.
It's the thing.
So it's a very social thing. There are areas that are... And everybody is very, very educated and on top of the quality of the snowpack, the avalanche conditions, what aspects of the mountain are windblown or safer right now. And So there are weekly get-togethers at local bars where people are talking about what they're finding when they're doing their snow assessments outside.
Oh, yeah.
So there's just so much information about how to be safe in the backcountry there that it feels quite a bit safer.
Yeah.
Whereas up here, there's just not as much information that is disseminated about what is happening with the snowpack.
Right.
So we have not done a lot of backcountry skiing here. We've done some uphill skiing, just inbounds. Like Mount Spokane, you can buy a pass, you can skin up their mountain and then ski down.
Right.
So that has satisfied the itch a little bit.
Okay.
But I know we want to get into that more.
Yeah.
Since we've been here, we've done a lot more downhill.
Right.
Because the lines aren't very long here anyways.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Compared to Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, everything is pretty chill out here, which is nice. It's nice.
So there's trade-offs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine when you do backcountry, is that like you could probably do something as short as an hour, or it could be an all-day adventure.
Yeah. So in Jackson Hole specifically, you can do quick things on the pass where you drive to the top of the pass and then you do, an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. And then you can also go up to Grand Teton National Park.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll drive in there. But because you can't drive in very far, then you're skinning on flat ground for many miles before you even get to the uphill. And then you're at the very base of the mountain. You haven't even driven up to the top of the pass yet. So those are a full day.
Good workout.
Things.
Yeah, exhausting.
Yeah. Which is why I love it.
Peaceful.
Oh my gosh, nothing can compare. My favorite Valentine's Day, actually. Today's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
My favorite Valentine's Day ever was Keaton and I went into the park and we skinned all the way up to the top of this mountain called 25 Short. And it was the best, it was the best snow. It was so peaceful. I felt like we were the only ones out there.
Yeah, just magical.
It was the best.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and there's something so peaceful and beautiful and powerful about the snow.
Yeah.
The other day when it was -5 out, the snow, I don't even think it was snowing. I think it was blowing off of the trees, but it was like, I felt like I was in a snow globe because it was just kind of like lingering in the air and glistening. And I was like, if I could just capture this, and it's bright and everything's white and it's
absolutely,
it's amazing. So being away from everything and experiencing that, it's just got to be magic.
With your other favorite person, and it feels like the two of you are the only ones in the world.
So let's go to Keaton.
Okay.
Because I have more questions about the snow stuff. But I've met your husband once, and he is just the most charming, handsome devil.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yes. Where did you guys meet? Why is he your favorite person?
Well, he and I both grew up in Jackson.
Okay.
So he was also born and raised there. His parents still have a place there. So we went to school. We went to the same schools. There's only one school.
Okay. So is this elementary, middle, high school?
Yeah. So we went to the same middle school and high school.
Okay. Yep.
He was one grade below me, though.
Oh, younger man.
Mm-hmm. We were born in the same calendar year. I just have to say that.
But when's his birthday? When's yours?
His is in December. Mine's in April.
Okay.
So it's holiday months. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
Who's counting?
So we went to school together. Though I think if I look back on it, I don't think we ever had a single conversation together.
Isn't that funny?
Even though we were in similar clubs, I remember his name because he took one of the girls that was in my friend group to Winter Ball.
Oh, yeah.
So we were very much parallel, but never really connected. We were parallel enough, actually, that we were friends on social media.
Yeah.
And so we went all of our separate ways. He went to Texas for undergrad. I went to Michigan. I came back, did grad school in Montana, and then eventually went to Utah to do my residency to become a specialist in orthopedics and physical therapy.
Yeah.
While I was living in Salt Lake City, he had gone all around, was back living in Jackson again, and he was up in Salt Lake skiing, posted on social media. I didn't know a ton of people in Salt Lake, so I was like, hey, if you're here, I'm planning on skiing that resort tomorrow anyway. Let's combine groups. Let's get together.
Yeah.
And I mean, long story short, there was an avalanche and snow prevented us from getting there. So we didn't actually connect that day.
Yeah.
But we then started talking more and realized that we both had changed a lot since high school. We were way more compatible now, had a lot of similar interests.
Yeah.
And I was trying to decide after the residency where I was going to move.
Right.
I had loans I needed to pay off. It was a really daunting question.
Yeah.
And I say that he wasn't the reason I moved back home, but he was a
he was a
tick
factor.
in the positive column that brought me back home. And then moving back home in the end was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
So he's my favorite person because, I mean, I could probably talk for a whole podcast about all the reasons that he's my favorite person. But
let's go. We got a podcast. Let's go.
This is the Keaton podcast now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a wonderful, intellectual, compassionate, kind human being, and it just so happens that we have a lot of hobbies in common.
That helps.
And I think that I'm a human being who relates to people a lot through physical activity, or through movement, maybe even more than physical activity.
Yeah.
So the fact
there's a reason why you chose the profession you did,
this
which
is
we'll touch on that too.
Yes. Okay, good. But luckily, Keaton and I both, since high school, having none of the current interests we have now, we both came to love skiing and mountain biking and hiking and rock climbing, and we bonded over all of those things. Our initial dates, we were living in completely separate states at first. And we would get together and we would have a rock climbing weekend at City of Rocks in Idaho, or we would get together and we would do road biking and mountain biking in Salt Lake City. And we would just like connect for these fun athletic adventures. And I think that was the best way to date someone and get to know them.
That's so
how
good.
They handle like the discomfort of being exhausted with physical activity.
Well, and it shows how they're going to be in other scenarios outside of the physical.
Yeah. I think
it has that carried over. I mean, because I was just talking to one of my coaching clients the other day and we were talking about money, right? And like, that's something that can tear couples apart really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your discipline like financially? How do you tackle when a big thing comes up that you have to deal with there? Spirituality. What about when somebody's or emotional or whatever it is? We have so much complexity in this life that if you can get through climbing, doing some rock climbing, being stuck backcountry skiing, something, do you persevere? Are you quick on your feet? Are you prepared? Like it answers a lot of questions.
Yes, it does. It lets you know a lot about that person.
Yeah.
And even if they're not always the most flattering things that you're learning about a person, at least you know that they're there, right?
Yeah. And I would imagine there's a fair amount of that too.
We were different people. I love all things endurance.
Yeah.
I love the really, really long skis, the really, really hard mountain bike rides that take most of a day, and at the end of it you're just so exhausted and
done.
So happy. That's my favorite feeling ever.
Yeah.
And Keaton is he would, if he could ride the lift up and just ski back down or just mountain bike back down, like those are his favorite days.
Yeah.
So it's been really good for me to learn how to appreciate the adrenaline days.
Yep.
And him how to appreciate the days that are a bit longer.
The endurance days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that is a satisfying feeling, right? You left it all out there. You put your heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
You conquered that thing.
It's so empowering. I love that. Like proving to yourself that you can do it. Even if there are moments in the middle of it where everything is hurting. Why am I doing this? All I want to do is stop. I just love that. I love that feeling.
It's so good.
Yeah.
What's the, I don't know why I can never remember his name. The guy that's like the ultra endurance, he'll run multi-person marathons by himself. He'll like break his bones in the process.
Oh, heavens.
He used to be a SEAL, Navy SEAL.
Oh, wow.
I can't, it's driving me nuts. Anyways, I'm surprised that you haven't read any of his stuff because he's all about like mind over matter. We're doing this thing. And I'm like,
no, I don't think I've read any of his stuff. And I would like to think that there is a line once it comes to injuring yourself.
Right.
That's my line for sure.
Yeah. No. Interesting. You don't want to injure yourself? You help people with injuries? That's interesting. Okay. Again, so many different spots that we can go down.
Yeah.
Let's stay on Keaton for another minute.
Okay.
Where do I want to go with Keaton? So you guys changed a lot. It's funny because when Rachel and I got together, I think I technically knew she existed, but I was hanging out with her brother, always over at their property. I'm like, okay, so you got, mom and dad and siblings and stuff, but we're playing Halo.
Totally.
And then all of a sudden she called me. So, I mean, you reached out to Keaton, right? When you were down in Salt Lake, and we were going to prom, with separate groups, and her group was kind of falling apart. So she was like, hey, can I join your group? And all of a sudden I'm like, Ben, you have sisters. What? Why
observant.
didn't you tell me this? And Rachel's 11 months older than me. And so the parallels on some of that. But her and I, it's interesting because we don't have, there's definitely things that we enjoy doing together. But we have our separate things. And so there's something really cool. I've always been jealous of couples that really enjoy doing a lot of activities together. And especially, I think it'd be hard if you were the active one and he's like, I'm hanging out playing video games.
That would be really hard.
Yeah.
Just based on what I know about myself and how I make friends, even how I relate to people, it really is activity based.
Yeah.
So I don't think I could be with somebody who just played video games all day while I was trying to be active and healthy. And
that wouldn't last
I don't
long.
think so. Even friendships, sometimes I've recognized this as a shortcoming of mine, that sometimes even my friendships can struggle a little bit if we don't have a physical thing that we can do together.
Yeah. That makes sense. It makes sense. I'm always amazed at how people end up tribing up. Right. And that's and what a good one, because you're going to be 98 and hopefully with the way that science and everything's progressing, maybe we'll live to 120. But you're in the right mode to make that happen.
I hope so.
Where does that, okay, hold on. Before we get into your health drive, my last point on Keaton that I wanted to get to is, I think it's so beautiful. You said that you really enjoy doing life with him. And that's one of those things where when you choose a partner, you get to view life through their lens and you get to experience life with them. So why wouldn't you pick somebody that you just like, there's something cool and magical about the way that this person does things, and I want to experience that as long as I can.
Yeah, I totally respect the way Keaton approaches the world.
Yeah.
He has opinions, but he is very open-minded.
Yeah.
He can be very stubborn about some things, but again, he'll be so open to hearing the opposing viewpoints and oftentimes internalize a lot of those if he feels like they make sense. He thinks critically and logically, but he's also an emotional person.
Yeah.
He is very calm and level-headed in times when I can maybe be a little more stressed.
I don't get that from you. That surprises me. No, I'm serious. I'm like, man, Emily just has everything in control. She's got this figured out. I want to be like Emily when I grow up.
Keaton would laugh at you for saying that, I think.
Okay, good. So he grounds a little bit. He gets
for
you.
Sure.
Okay,
I think we both learn from each other a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that's part of why we love life together so much.
Yeah.
We both learn from each other. We're both open enough that we can sort of teach each other things.
That's so sweet. That's great. Okay, so, and this, I think if we come back here, this will take off into splintering over into the health side of things. Because what you just described in Keaton is also what I see in you. And so how did you get to be open-minded? What was, and I have a feeling a lot of that was the way that you grew up. So what was growing up like? What were some of those foundational beliefs, and how have you been how did that take you into being such an open, level-headed, critical thinking person?
Oh, well, I grew up in a conservative Christian family, and I went to a Christian undergrad, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And so kind of all through growing up and all through undergrad, I felt like I was sort of just exposed to this same bubble of people.
Yeah.
I was very, very comfortable there.
Yeah.
Once I got out of undergrad, I came back to Jackson while I was getting ready to go to grad school, and I was working in a bar, which was different.
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
different.
And
yeah.
I think it was so healthy for me to be put in an environment that was entirely different from this perfect little Christian undergrad bubble that I was in. And I was exposed to these people that were still so vibrant and interesting and fun to be around, that didn't necessarily fit the mold of like the perfect person.
Right.
And that really opened my eyes, challenged some of my beliefs maybe that I was raised with, that everyone deserves love and compassion.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for those times where I just felt like maybe some of the things I was taught in the past were challenged to try and make me more empathetic and compassionate and open-minded.
Yeah.
I would like to think maybe that's that period of time that really helped form how I try to now approach the world.
Yeah.
which is as open-minded as possible and with as much love and compassion as possible.
Yeah.
Because everybody's coming from a different place.
Right.
And everybody's story has value.
Yes.
Does that answer that question?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the good broad stroke on it. Definitely, for sure. The bar thing, like that throws me off a little bit. I
loved it.
So like, if I need a drink mixed, you got do you have some of those in
Unfortunately, no. I wasn't a bartender. I was just a waitress.
Oh, you're a waitress.
And then in the evenings, I would transition to cocktail
I'm
waitress.
like, man, because we're in a networking group together. I'm like, all right. We're having a party.
I wish. No, none of that. But if you need me to bring you a drink, I can do that.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
It was actually so funny being a cocktail waitress in Jackson Hole. I was working in a restaurant on the town square, so a lot of tourism, but there are only a few bars in Jackson anyway. So in the evenings, the locals would come out too.
Of course.
And in the evenings, this bar I worked in had a lot of live music. So in the evenings, everyone would sort of be milling about, but they would ask you for a drink, and then it was your job to then find them again later.
Down, yeah.
And I would think, okay, this guy's wearing a flannel shirt. He has a big beard. And I would go get the drink, and I would turn around.
They all do.
A sea of men in flannel and big beards. So sometimes I'd be like, well, maybe he'll come back to me. I don't think I was a very good cocktail waitress.
Oh no, that's so funny.
It was so
Where's
funny.
Waldo?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like. Oh my gosh. You're just reading facial expressions. Like if they look like they're recognizing me, maybe that's my lumberjack I'm trying to bring this to.
Oh, that's so good. Oh man. Well, and I'm sure a lot of them probably liked similar drinks, so you could just like pick one and
probably.
and then just
they would be happy to have it.
They would have been happy.
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Well, and it does, right? I think when we are in our little almost echo chambers, right? When we're in our comfort zone, anything outside of that is scary, and that's very biological, right? We want to survive. We're going to do what we do, stay in our tribe. Anything outside of the tribe is scary, could lead to death. Don't do it. And so exposure, I think, is one of the best medicines.
Absolutely. I'm such a big believer in trying to put yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Especially socially is when I have found that I do most of my growth.
Yeah.
So going away to college, going all the way from small town Jackson Hole all the way to Michigan for undergrad.
Oh, yeah.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I was the only person there from my entire state.
Oh, really?
Yeah. From the whole state of Wyoming. It was a small school over there in Michigan.
Yeah.
But that was really scary, but you learn who you are and what you stand for and the kind of people that you relate to.
Yeah.
And then I would take that a step farther. I did a lot of solo traveling.
Oh, yeah.
I lived in Spain by myself for a few months.
Oh, Spain would have been magic.
And that was back before I had a smartphone. So I didn't even really have a phone at all. I would just hop on Wi-Fi and a McDonald's here and there, figure out where I was.
And go.
You grow so much, though, when you're uncomfortable like that. And it's empowering.
Yes.
It is incredible how empowering it can be to travel by yourself as a woman in a foreign country where they speak a different language and do it successfully and have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with having 3 boys, I was like, okay, they're boys. Like, whatever. And then as soon as I had Mel, you saw her. She's this petite little blonde thing.
Cute. And
all of a sudden I'm like, I'm Liam Neeson. If somebody takes this girl, I will find you and I will like I'm going to have to protect this little girl. But then it's the no. Like I'm not always going to be there. Mm-hmm. So how do I make sure that she's empowered so that she feels like she can go tackle the world, because she can.
Yeah.
And you're a living, breathing example of it, of you can go be brave. Go do this thing. You can do it.
Admittedly, before I went abroad, before I moved to Spain for those 3 months, my parents made me watch Taken.
No, they didn't.
They did. They did. And it was very good for me, coming from this tiny little town in Wyoming where I would walk around at night and not even think about it. Like you just feel safe all the time and you know everybody. So then to go to Europe, it was just good for me to think, oh, there are bad people in the world.
Oh, and there's definitely bad people in the world.
There
for
are
sure.
bad people out there, and it's good to be cognizant of that. And that's part of the empowerment piece, actually. If you can recognize that and still not be afraid and still feel like you're taking care of yourself in an appropriate way, that goes a long way.
Well, and a lot of it is that awareness piece, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Just like backcountry skiing, anything, when you take the right preparatory steps, avalanche comes along, you have what you need in that situation. If you're out and about in a foreign country and you're aware of your surroundings, and what other steps did you take? I'm curious.
Well, you're always trying to prevent it from happening in the first place. So like for an avalanche, you're always trying to be educated enough to go where to go to avoid the avalanche.
Yeah.
In Europe, I was very conscientious about trying to be aware of my surroundings, keeping important things like either inside my clothing or in backpacks that couldn't just be a hand slipped into, or and I would just do a lot of research about what were the current scams and trying to be aware of those. Luckily, I speak Spanish, so being in Spain wasn't a challenge in that regard. It was just kind of an extra fun obstacle.
Yeah. Well,
So
and
I
they
was able to
speak
talk to
a
people.
different version of Spanish.
Yes, I was very much taught Mexican Spanish.
Yes.
And they would tell me that I spoke like a Mexican,
Yeah.
which is funny, but you can understand them for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
They just, so I was Spanish speaking on my mission,
Yes.
and it was New Jersey.
Oh, interesting.
Weird. But I got everything. I got Mexican Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish, Colombian Spanish, Spaniard Spanish. It was everything. And the Spaniards almost have like not a slur is not the right word.
It's like a TH. They replace the S with a TH.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's cute. And then they have an extra verb conjugation too.
Oh.
A slang that means like y'all, kind of.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't
They're
know
the
how to
country
conjugate.
Spanish.
They would hate it if
Y'all.
they heard me say that. But it means like you guys, I guess, would be another way to say it.
Yeah.
If it's not y'all.
Yeah, so I've lost almost all of it. Because I was only out for 4 months. I was like, this is not my thing. I'm out. Thank you. And I wish but I took to it really fast. I was kind of surprised. Like I still go back and listen to my tapes when I come across them in a random drawer somewhere. Like, oh, I was good.
Yeah.
I could do this Spanish thing again. But to this day, como is still like my favorite. Whenever the kids do say something and como, right? It's like you can use como for everything. It's so good. Have you stayed up on your Spanish?
When I was in Jackson has a very large Hispanic population.
Okay. Yeah.
In fact, our elementary schools are over 50% Hispanic.
No way.
Yeah. So there was
That's
a
cool.
ton of need to use my Spanish when I was in Jackson. I would
Yeah.
have patients that were 100% Spanish speaking, and then we would have physical therapy sessions
Yeah.
in Spanish, and then my next patient would be English speaking. So I was able to use it quite a bit in Jackson.
Yeah.
But of course, since moving up here,
Yeah.
I don't think I've used it a single time.
Yeah. There's not a.
So
Yeah. Well,
I'm losing it.
I was surprised. Because there's a very clear division of the state line, right?
Mhm.
Like, you come over to Coeur d'Alene, it is clean. I don't think I've seen a homeless person here. We're also very white. And you go over to Spokane, and not that any of these things, like those are not related things, but the homeless problem is crazy.
Mhm.
You have much more diversity, which is
Mhm.
beautiful.
Mhm.
But it's like, oh, you're in Idaho now, and you're in North Idaho now. And so, yeah, it's, not being able to use the Spanish is rough. It'd be nice
I
if
know,
we had
it's
some
a
more.
bummer.
Yeah.
Like a muscle we don't get to use.
Yeah, exactly that. And then, but it's amazing how fast you can pick it back up again.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I know the nouns would probably come back. The vocab would probably come back.
Yeah.
But some of those
The nuancy
imperfect
sort of.
preterite tenses where you're in the subjective, like you're in the hypothetical, so they
Yeah.
conjugate it differently than if it was a real thing that was happening.
Yeah.
Some of the fluidity with that, I don't know. It would take a while for that to come back.
Yeah. Well, and you just went on a cruise.
Yes.
Did you? And that was, granted, it was Caribbean, but you were in Puerto Vallarta, right? Is that what you said? No.
No, we actually went to Puerto Rico.
Puerto
That's
Rico.
what we- yeah.
Oh,
And they
I knew
do
there
speak
was a.
Spanish there.
Yeah.
But we were there for one day.
Oh, so
I
it
don't
was.
think I used it at all.
Oh,
And then on the cruise, a lot of the islands we were surprised speak French or Creole.
yes, right.
And then English.
Yeah. So
So,
not a lot of.
not a lick of
you
Spanish.
were on the.
And
Yeah.
we're in the cruise, on a cruise, you're just in your bubble.
You're in
Talk
your
about a bubble. You're
Yeah.
just shuttled from one place to the next.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much authentic cultural experiences we really got.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to take more trips to Spanish-speaking areas. What?
There you go.
So the cruise was fun.
Yes, it was very fun. It was especially fun because my grandparents were the ones that picked it out. We told them we wanted to do some international travel with them
Yeah.
while they were still doing that sort of thing.
Right.
And they felt most comfortable with a cruise. And so they
Yeah.
picked out this cruise. It was nice because it was just a week. We had to get back for work and things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great to be abroad with them.
Yep.
We were able to push them out of their comfort zones a little
Oh,
bit. We
that's
did a
good.
sea kayaking day.
Oh,
And
cool.
Keaton had my grandma in his kayak, and I had my grandpa in my kayak.
Oh, that's so
and
sweet.
That was so freaking precious. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then my grandpa and Keaton and I went skiing in the ocean.
Yeah.
Or skiing. Did I say skiing?
Yeah, skiing in the ocean sounds amazing. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I meant swimming. We waded in and we swam.
Yeah.
I wonder when the last time was that my grandpa swam in the ocean, but I think he loved it.
Oh, I'm
it
sure.
It was all great. It was quality time. It feels like that was just priceless time to get with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so that, are they your maternal, paternal?
Maternal.
Maternal. You have your paternal grandparents still?
No, my grandma on my dad's side passed away last year of dementia. And then my grandpa is still around, but I don't talk to that side of my family a whole lot.
Oh.
So I can't say I'm as close to them as my maternal grandparents for sure. And my mom's side grandparents, maternal, we'll stick with that.
Yeah.
My maternal grandparents live in Jackson.
Right.
So, and we were all on the same street. My grandpa bought a ranch in Jackson Hole and gave a parcel to each of his kids. So it was my uncle and cousins, my grandparents, and then my parents and my sister. And
what a fun way to grow up.
So it was the most wholesome way to grow up.
Oh, yeah.
And just because of that proximity, we were quite close with my grandparents on that side.
Yeah. Well, so that's like Sunday dinners together,
For sure, yeah.
Going to church together.
Yep.
All the family activities, all the birthdays, all the things, the holidays.
Yep. My grandma's birthday's on the 4th of July. So the 4th of July would be this big
the party.
We would throw this big parade party where we would start the party at my parents' house and do appetizers.
Yeah.
And then everybody would dress up their mode of transportation, whether that be a bike or a golf cart or a horse. People would paint their horses.
Yes.
We painted our dog red, white, and blue one year. And then you parade to the next house, to my grandma's house. We'd have the main course there. Then we'd parade to my uncle's house, and then we'd have dessert there.
And some fireworks.
That was so fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
We genuinely just had the best upbringing.
It sounds charmed.
It really was, yes.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily realize how truly charmed it is until you leave and come back.
Yeah.
And so everybody in Jackson Hole, all the kids in Jackson Hole, can't wait to get out of the small town.
Yeah.
You're too cool to stay in this small town. Everybody leaves, and then everybody thinks, oh my goodness, how can we get back?
Yeah. And now it's a little expensive to go back.
In order to come back, you have to live with your parents.
Yeah.
Which we did.
Yeah.
We did for a while. When I moved back, I lived with my mom, and my sister and her husband were already living with my mom too.
Oh, so
luckily they had some apartments in their barn that they had built out. So we weren't like in the same living space. We just were on the same piece of property.
Yeah.
And then Keaton was living back with his parents when we reconnected.
Yeah.
And when we married, we moved into the apartment in his parents' barn and lived with the in-laws for a while.
Nice. It sounds like Keaton gets along with your side of the family?
Yes.
Do you get along with his side of the family?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
They're a bit older than my parents are, but they're amazing. We were just visiting them. They just got a place down in Mexico not that long ago. So talk about getting to speak Spanish. Yeah. So we were visiting them earlier this year, and that was amazing. I hope we can visit them a little bit more.
Yeah,
and they love it. So Keaton's dad can captain a boat.
Oh, yeah.
Like really big boats.
Yeah.
So he's able, and the place that they bought is actually a houseboat. So they can move this boat around. Mexico has a lot of really secluded beaches and national parks. And so one day when we were down there, we took the boat out to this island and anchored it out and camped out overnight. And the water was bioluminescent.
Which is the coolest thing.
Oh my gosh. We did a lot of snorkeling and hiking, and it was magical. And nobody's there. We were the only people there.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So Keaton's parents love that kind of stuff. They've been more involved in the water side of things. Growing up, Keaton would spend half of the year down in the Florida Keys living on a houseboat down there.
Oh, cool.
So that's part of their story, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Keaton on.
He is fascinating. He actually would be a really good guest for you to bring on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do that.
Okay.
Well, and there's two things that keep popping into my head is just the cool tactile way that you have of interacting with the world. And all these cool situations that you find yourself in where I'm fascinated by the stars. And I can only imagine Jackson must have been
Oh,
as a
yeah.
kid at night looking up and just you were in this beautiful setting anyways, and then the sky just opens up. Or
Yes.
going and visiting down in those isolated spots where you're the only humans around.
Yes. It is incredible
Yeah.
how many more stars you can see, how different it is.
Oh, yeah. No light pollution.
Yeah. Yeah. And where we lived in Jackson, we were right next to this bluff, I guess is what you would call it. So our house was kind of nestled up against this hillside that didn't have any houses on it. So it was so dark down in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really amazing. And nestled down in there, all the elk would come in the wintertime to get shelter.
Yeah.
And it was an oasis. Looking back on it, it was just amazing.
How special is
With
that?
the stars. Yeah, you would have loved the stars.
Yeah.
I have these images, these mental images of walking my dog from my little apartment in the barn over to my mom's house before I would go to work, and just the stars, just walking down the driveway, the stars, you could see the whole Milky Way.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just like an observatory.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yes.
I know this seems like a total like diversion, but where you have a sister?
Yes.
Is that only sibling?
Yes.
And then grew up close to the cousins. How many cousins?
3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there were 5 of you, all close in age?
No. Our cousins are quite a bit younger.
Oh, they're younger.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
How many years younger? They're in undergrad still.
Oh, they are. Okay.
They're quite a bit younger than us. We babysat them.
Yeah.
One of my jobs one summer was being a nanny for them. So they're
Oh, yeah.
young enough that they're fun to be around, but it wasn't like...
Well, and as they get into adulthood and become themselves and all that, I'm sure there will be some more connection.
Yes,
there
I hope
and-
so.
yeah.
I hope so. They're really fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then Keaton, how many siblings does he have?
He's an only
he's
child.
solo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Something you can rip him about? if
Yeah,
he comes on.
absolutely. And you're older than your sister?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. That to me feels like one of the main factors in just how we end up doing life is where you in birth order, how many other people did you grow up, or kids your age did you grow up around? Yeah, because especially when you're the oldest and taking care of younger cousins, feels like there's built-in automatic responsibility that you just kind of innately have.
Probably. I was always a very good kid.
Yeah,
You can probably guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't strike me as the rebel.
No, there was not a rebellious bone in my body.
No. You didn't sneak off at 18 and go get that tattoo. And
I did not. No, I was the one everybody called to babysit their kids because they knew I was going to be on it.
And I take it grades. You were always really good at good
Yes.
grades, and
Yeah, very good at school. I always really loved school
yeah. So and love to learn.
and love to learn.
Yeah. And great at sports.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
did you? If I remember correctly, you guys had horses.
Yes.
And so, what were all the activities as a kid? Because I mean, you're still very active. How did you
Yeah, they've changed
hone that
a
when you
little
were a
bit.
kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, my sports were swimming,
Yep.
track and field, and rodeo. So we did have horses growing up, and that again just contributes to how wholesome our upbringing was.
Yeah.
Just being able to ride our horses on our little property over to my grandparents' house, over to my uncle's house. There were other friends in our neighborhood that had horses. We would ride the horses over there, put them in a pen, play in the horse trough, get out, ride the horses home. It was just so Wyoming, maybe, would be how to describe it.
Yeah.
So rodeo in high school was really fun. And then I was actually a very good swimmer.
Yeah.
Broke state records, conference records, varsity records that still stand.
Nice.
Which is pretty fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then running was something that I just always loved. But then by the end of high school, I got kind of burned out on swimming. It's a very intense sport. Your head is in the water. You can't really talk while you're doing it. You're just so stuck in your brain.
Yes.
And
surprisingly isolating, when you're doing it with a group.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas in track, you are hearing things, you are seeing things, you can feel the sunlight on you, you're outside.
Yeah.
It's a co-ed sport too, which makes it fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so I really loved track and ended up doing track in college.
Oh, cool.
And that was, again, just a great opportunity. And then by the time I went to college, by the end of college, we ended up selling the horses because grad school is pretty expensive.
Why, yes,
My
it
sister
is.
was going into nursing school, so she sold her horse as well.
Yeah.
And we didn't have as much time. That's when mountain biking really entered my life as my main passion. Horses are so all consuming that you really can't do other things.
And expensive. Holy smokes. But
like,
they are time, you're feeding them in the morning. At night, you're grooming, you're riding them. The horses, it's having a child.
Yeah. Yeah. When growing up with horses, I didn't date. I didn't get into trouble. I didn't really do other things outside of maybe school and school sports.
Right.
So if you ever had a girl and you didn't want her to get into trouble, getting her a horse would keep her busy.
Turn them into a horse crazy girl, and they can't be boy crazy.
Yeah, I totally was not boy crazy. I was very, very focused. And maybe it teaches you some discipline too and responsibility.
For sure. Yeah.
So then once we sold our horses as I exited undergrad, then mountain biking came into my life.
Yeah.
And that I really, really love because it still can get you into the backcountry the way that horseback can.
Right.
But you can then just put your bike in the garage and you don't have to feed it. You don't have to take it to the vet. You don't have to board it all winter.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't even touch on that. So we touched on winter sports, but summer sports or when it's not. You don't do any mountain biking this time of year, do you?
Well, we were tempted to before the snow fell.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think next year, if the snow falls late again, we will try. I have patients that were mountain biking through December up until this most recent storm cycle. So I would love to.
Yeah.
I love it enough that I would love to do that.
Yeah.
But in Jackson, the snow comes early and it's just is so heavy and it is all winter that I'm just conditioned to put my bike away in November.
Yeah.
So next year, maybe we will.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I would love that. Mountain biking, if I choose one sport that I love the most right now, mountain biking is it.
Why?
Oh, why? Well, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It gets you
You
into
want
the
leg day?
backcountry.
You're getting leg day.
I love the feeling of my body being the motor that's getting us into the backcountry.
Oh, yeah.
And so I, of course, love the difficulty of it. I love that it's quiet. It's not super loud like a dirt bike would be or any sort of a mechanized sport. That's similarly why I love hiking. I just love it that it is quiet and peaceful. In the backcountry. Yeah. Yeah. You can get farther than you can with hiking, which is another reason why biking is nice.
Yeah. Cover more ground.
Yeah. And then I've come to also learn to love the downhill.
So I think it's, you like the challenge part, and I'm like, I want to go down. Yeah. I'd be with Keaton. Like, let's do the adrenaline piece.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't want to pump my legs anymore. We're a mile in. Perfect. Brandon, we still have 30 to go. What are you doing?
Yes. Yeah. So it's good to love that part too. That part is just as important when it comes to injury mitigation and then enjoying how it all goes. In fact, if I really feel like if I don't get at least some of a warm up, some uphill, I'm mentally not in the game enough.
Of course.
The one time that I broke my arm mountain biking, it was a shuttled ride. So they drove us all the way to the top and they spit us out. And I was probably 10 minutes into what was going to be a 3-hour downhill ride. Yeah. And I fell on the easiest portion. It was just some loose dirt. It just swept the bike out from underneath me and I broke my arm. Oh, doggone it. And I was like, see, this is why I need uphill.
I didn't get warmed up. I didn't earn this. And look at what happens.
I know. It goes against everything I stand for.
That's so funny. Well, and that quick rabbit hole there, that is such an important piece of, I think, everything. When things are just handed to you, the lack of appreciation, the thinking that's just how life works, you don't grow. Mm-hmm. And there's something so important about the struggle that grows us. Mm-hmm. And gives us that satisfaction of we earned it. If I do hard things, I get rewarded. It's I always think of the seed, right? You plant a seed and it's got to crack through its shell. Then it has to work its way through the dirt. Then it has to reach up and get that sunlight. And then you get the reward of the flower. But if you don't have the struggle all the way through, nothing happens.
Yeah. 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 I think that's part of why I liked school so much. I'm not a person who just naturally gets it, remembers it, easy peasy. I had to work really hard in school. Yeah. But I do love learning. And I had a goal of being a physical therapist. Yeah. And so from a fairly young age, from high school time on, I knew I wanted to be a PT.
Well, I was going to ask, when did that, how?
Well, Jackson had a cool internship in the local medical center where
Okay.
if you got approved, and only a couple high school students did, then you could shadow in 26 departments within the medical center
Cool.
and determine which ones you liked.
Yeah.
And physical therapy pretty quickly came up as one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well,
Because
why?
you're not using pharmacology to get better. You're not
Yeah.
having to do surgery. You're really using the body to heal the body.
Yes.
And by the time patients are coming into physical therapy, they're usually on the recovery end
Yep.
of their journey.
Right.
It's not very often that I'm the one having to break bad news. I definitely don't have to like tell someone they have cancer or something
Right.
really hard like that.
Yep.
I am an empath. I take people's emotions on enough that I think being in that phase of the healthcare world would be hard.
It'd be hard.
So maybe it's hard for everyone, but it would be very hard for me. I
Yeah.
love being on the part of healthcare where we have the end in sight.
Yeah.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I can just be the cheerleader, the empowerer,
Yeah.
and help them regain function. They're on the up and up by the time they
Yeah.
come to PT, and I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I because I have a fair amount of addiction in my family. One of the things that I learned very much the hard way was that you can't catch somebody when they're falling, but you can certainly help lift them up. And so that it's odd. I was just at a event a couple nights ago, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I walked into the room, and there was just kind of like this somber feeling. And we're going around, and we're introducing ourselves and telling a little bit about ourselves. And we were the only two young people there. Everybody else was probably 60 plus. And every single one of them had a cancer diagnosis, and that's why they were there. And obviously, right? That's why it was somber. But there's something about that, like you were saying, when you have to be the bearer of that bad news to somebody. I'm also listening to. Do you ever listen to the Dark Horse podcast? It's Brett Weinstein and his wife Heather. I can never remember her last name.
No,
but they're evolutionary biologists. I think that's technically their title. And the episode I'm listening to, they're talking about germ theory versus terrain theory. And I didn't realize that was controversial. Because obviously there's extremists on both ends of everything. But I never thought that the idea that just germs were what made people sick. I'm like, that makes zero sense. Like, obviously we have this, we're in this we're complex systems. The world is complex. There's all sorts of organisms trying to make it. That's the way the biology works.
Yeah.
And so when we're a good host, they're gonna come use us. Like that just makes sense. So germ theory makes sense. But then terrain theory, I didn't realize it was controversial. Yeah. If you don't take care of yourself, you're making yourself more susceptible to disease. Like, duh.
Right.
How do we not? How is that? But then you get into the pharmacological side of things, and it's, oh, okay, so there's the money involved. Right? And when you are able to narrow down and eliminate as many variables as possible and say, we have peer-reviewed studies that show that this fixes this, there's your magic bullet. And especially when tenure and people's pay and more funding for universities and for studies and all that other stuff is rooted in results because it comes back to money. Terrain theory, complex systems. Are you getting the right amount of sleep? Are you eating correctly? Are you exercising? How's your stress level? How are you? And there's so many things to control for that you can't magic bullet that. I mean, we can distill that down just like I said, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, and so it totally makes sense to me that you ended up on here's people that are on the upswing. They know they need to work on this thing. They're coming to me. Let's get the proper exercises in. Let's do whatever the right next steps are to get you back to full health.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And physical therapy has been so much more than just going into it. I thought it would just be a lot of exercises and stretches and
right.
mobilize your joint and you'll get better. But
Yeah.
people's recovery actually is so much more complex than just what's happening physically.
Yeah.
And I know
isn't
you
it,
know this from
though?
your coaching.
Yeah.
But there's the whole emotional component. There's a mental component, like what your belief system is,
Yeah.
what your beliefs say about yourself and your own fragility. What we're learning about how the brain perceives pain, the whole
Yeah.
science behind pain is so interesting. So sometimes I have sessions where we don't really do much exercise.
Yeah.
We're just trying to talk through understanding how your brain perceives pain.
Yes.
And there are studies to show that even if you understand, even just that understanding of how your brain perceives pain will decrease your pain.
Oh.
Just even understanding what it is that your brain is doing will alter what it's feeling.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so if I have a patient who's coming in with chronic pain is the classic example.
Right. Yep.
Somebody who has had pain in their ankle, for example, for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Initially, pain was a signal being sent to your brain to say that there was some sort of danger. It was to indicate that you needed to modify your behavior in some way to get out of whatever was causing this danger, this harm,
Right.
this tissue damage.
Right.
As you've had pain for years and years and years, that pain signal is no longer indicating tissue damage.
No.
You're no longer needing to modify your behavior to get away from something that is actively hurting you.
Right.
At some point, it becomes habitual.
Yeah.
So these pathways from, in this example, your ankle to your brain, instead of just being roads that little nerve signals are running along, they're becoming these super highways. It is so easy. Everything that your ankle is feeling is being perceived as pain because that is what your brain is used to getting from that area.
Wow.
So even something like light touch or pressure or stretch
Yeah.
or muscles working, all of that your brain sees as pain, 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 pain.
Whoa.
So even just understanding that and thinking, oh, maybe what I'm feeling that I think is pain, maybe that is just a stretch. That is the beginning of healing. That is the beginning
That's
of
so
reclassifying what your brain is feeling, kind of reteaching your brain how to perceive things surrounding your ankle.
Yeah.
And then add on top of that the work that you do in physical therapy, and it can
Right.
be extra beneficial.
Yeah.
So usually in those instances, your ankle is stiff and weak, and we do need to work on those things.
Right.
We probably need to train your balance, but we also just need to train your brain
Yeah.
on how to live life in a happy way.
Yeah. Well, and oh gosh, that there's so much implication there.
Yes.
The biggest one to me is we are what we perceive, right? Like our reality is shaped by the way that we decide to see it.
Absolutely. Yes.
And what a cool physical example of that. And I think, right, I mean, that's I'm going to butcher it. But what does Jesus say? Something along the lines of, like, blessed are ye that believe without having to see, right? It's along those lines,
yeah.
like having faith without having to have the actual miracle or proof or whatever that tangible thing is in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that's almost the inverse of it, right? Of no, you've convinced yourself that you have this pain, but really you've trained yourself. You've decided. And so can you,
Well, and it's not always at a fault. It's at no fault of your own.
no.
And people will go, so you're telling me that you think that this is all in my head?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And you have to say, no, this pain that you're feeling is very real. These pain signals are 100% real,
Yeah.
but they can be reclassified.
Yes.
And
Because
so-
they've been reinforced.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also call it the biopsychosocial model of pain.
Okay.
So they represent it like 3 overlapping circles.
Yeah.
The bio portion of pain is what is happening anatomically. It is your stiffness. It is your weakness. It is your lack of balance.
Yeah.
The psychological portion of pain is your belief system surrounding your disability.
Yeah.
If you classify it as a disability, if you believe that it's for forever, if you believe this is just how it's going to be now,
Yeah.
if you believe that you are a weak person and you're always injured, like your belief system surrounding yourself,
You're going to
or
reinforce
even,
it.
yeah, even societal's belief
Yes.
systems surrounding your injury, you will internalize. That's the
Yeah.
psychological portion of the biopsychosocial matter. Then the social portion is your support network.
Yeah.
If you have people you feel like you can lean on, or if you feel like you're completely alone, or if you feel like people understand you. Sometimes people will have a great support network, but because they've internalized their injuries, they've kind of created an identity around their
Yes.
injury, they don't feel like they're heard by their support network. So they end up pushing that social support away.
Yeah. Or doubling down on that belief.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so all of that, so in the overlapping teeny part of all of that, that is where pain lives.
Yeah.
So we can't just only treat the biological portion of
No.
pain and expect it to get better. We also have to treat the psychological portion and the social portion. Part of the social portion is, does your job allow you to modify for pain? Are you
Right.
feeling like you're just having to push through it? Do you feel like you're re-injuring yourself? Even if you're not re-injuring yourself, if you
Yeah.
feel like you're just continuing to re-injure yourself and it's never going to change and you're so disheartened, all of that affects how you perceive pain. And so we have to address all of it.
Wow.
And some of it is not just with exercise every day in PT. Sometimes it's sending someone to coaching or
Yeah.
mental health counseling, making sure that they have people they can talk to. I oftentimes will give people books or podcasts just to challenge their way of thinking, to try and get them out of that chronic pain cycle
Yeah.
and ready to learn. There are people that come into the clinic that are just not in a place where they're ready to challenge that thought process.
No. Well, because I think the social aspect is really big, right? And I remember going through school and it was the food pyramid. Okay, so this is the way we're supposed to eat. And then there's, how do you feel about the power structure that you're under? Oh, well, the government's reinforcing all of this because the FDA says this is true too. So I'm being taught this in school. The government, who's going to take care of me, is also saying that this is right. And then, I mean, because food, to me, one of the big ones is food, right? That ends up being the building blocks of you, because your cells are always, dying and being reproduced. What's the right word? Replaced.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that happens? You don't just pull it out of thin air. It's what you're taking into your body. Oh, and you're eating crap? Well, no wonder your body is now the way that it is. And that's just the physical aspect. And then you're being told these, it's amazing how all of these factors compound into, this is my belief about how things work. And anything that it kind of goes back to the tribalism piece.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One of the ones where I really remember this coming into play was when Thatcher got cancer, my youngest son. And we were very, very aware of, this is not his cancer. As soon as you label it that it's his cancer, there's an ownership there. And it's, like,
maybe a responsibility piece too.
Yeah.
Like nothing could have been done differently.
Right. And which was another, I mean, that's a whole other thing on top of it too. And I was so encouraged at this meeting the other night because one of the ladies goes, I'm going to get this cancer out of my body.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's such a different framing than I have this my cancer, right? Like, so even that, my ankle pain. Okay. Well, yeah, yes, it's your ankle pain. Like that phrasing isn't technically wrong, but there's still like an acceptance and an ownership and this instead of the ankle pain. Well, right. Even that little reframing helps.
Yeah. One of them comes from a place of mental fortitude.
Yeah.
And the other one comes from a place of defeat.
Yes.
Yeah. That oversimplifies it for sure, but that is the basis.
That's
of what
the basis.
you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting. So yeah, I love that you went in thinking, okay, it's going to be this, and there's a lot more to it than that.
There's a lot more patients crying
than
I thought there would be.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that.
No.
I genuinely enjoy connecting with people. So at first that was very intimidating to me. I felt very underqualified. And in some ways I probably am underqualified, but that's why I love pairing myself with other people that are better at that side of things. I have had patients that I've even said, listen, I can't work with you unless you're working with someone to help with your mental health. Otherwise, physical therapy just won't help.
Right.
So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is maybe they really just need someone to listen and understand.
Yes.
And sometimes people really feel like I, as a healthcare professional, can understand better. Maybe because I know the anatomical side of it, not necessarily because I know them better than their best friend, but I try to just actively listen in those situations.
What a good skill.
Kind of summarize what they told me and
maybe
redirect towards physical therapy. But those are still productive sessions too.
Yeah.
Interestingly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, and you, one of my biggest beliefs is that life attracts life. And so you exude life. And so you attract that into your practice because people fundamentally want that. People also fundamentally want to be seen and heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're providing all of that. And so it's no surprise that you have a flourishing, successful practice. What does that look like? What was when you first moved here, opened it up, how have you grown it so successfully?
Well, I think a large reason why it's been successful is that I just work really hard, which maybe that's a theme through my life, actually.
Yeah.
It's like mountain biking up a mountain.
Right. Yeah.
Or the seed you were talking about. It's like trying to get to the point where the seed breaks the soil and then gets to the sunlight. That was probably the first year of the PT clinic where I was the physical therapist, I was the receptionist, I was the marketer, I cleaned the clinic, I did the billing, I did everything.
Yeah.
And that was really
And billing was
hard.
your favorite part, right?
Not even close.
You would have rather cleaned the toilet?
No, I very clearly was good at one of those many things. And just winging it on the rest of them.
Yeah.
But I was able to wing it for about a year, a little over a year. Yeah. And then I finally brought on a second physical therapist and I was able to breathe a little sigh of relief that finally I had some help.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, I brought on front desk and then I breathed an even bigger sigh of relief that I had even more help. And then front desk offered to take on billing because she had that in her history.
Oh, good.
And then I truly was able to breathe a deep breath for the first time in a year and a half.
Yeah, you should have thrown a party.
Oh my goodness. And what's incredible is once I was finally delegating all of the things, I realized how much I had been doing for the previous little over a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure how I did it, but I did it.
You did it.
I did it. And the clinic is doing so well. And I'm so proud of it.
You should be. It's phenomenal.
It's not just a physical therapy clinic, in my opinion.
No.
I've worked at the University of Utah, which is top 4 top 4 healthcare systems in the nation. So they are top of the top. I've worked in other tiny little physical therapy outpatient clinics. I feel like I've kind of worked in the whole system. I worked for the government for a while in the VA hospital. I love that too. I loved them all.
Did you really?
But I really, really, really love elevated physical therapy and wellness because it is the highest quality physical therapy care I've been able to give in any of the settings. Some of those settings you have more funding than you know what to do with.
Yep.
But I really think like elevated is the best because it is patient focused. We focus on what the evidence says we should be doing and not what insurance companies try and boss you around and tell you what to do.
Goodness.
Every session is an hour just with the patient and the therapist.
Yes.
So you're never passed off to an aide or an assistant.
Yep.
That's so valuable.
It's so special.
If you're seeing your physical therapist every single time for the full time, they are modifying your plan of care. They are reassessing every visit. You might be able to progress much faster than what the textbook says because your physical therapist is there with you every single time.
Yeah.
Or you might be needing to slow things down for the long-term benefit of your care.
Yeah.
There's something so valuable about just taking the time, removing some of that pressure. I'm sure if I was actually a really, really good businesswoman, I would care more about those kinds of things.
Oh, I think that's the trap.
Maybe.
I think it is.
I'm thankful that I don't feel that pressure. I really care most about my patients and I care a lot about my employees.
Yes.
So sometimes if you have a clinic that is so productivity driven, they are numbers driven, they want you just to churn through patients and they don't care about the mental health of the therapist, like all of what they are taking on.
There's burnout, then you're rolling through people. And,
yes. And this field is such a good place to work.
Yeah.
If you have a good balance in your life. If you have a boss, I think, that really listens to you and tries to make you feel seen, allow you to have control over your schedule and who your patients are. And I've tried to just make note of that through my career. And I'm trying to be a good boss in that regard for my therapist.
Yeah.
Currently just one. I'm hoping to expand to include more, but I want them to feel like this is their caseload and they are providing the best care that they want to provide.
Yeah.
And patients see that.
Oh, for sure.
I've had patients come in that have had PT maybe all of their lives, and they're like, this is the best care I've ever gotten.
Yes.
Which is
and I hope you
so
take that to heart
validating.
because it is so true. I've gone to PT a handful of times, and I distinctly remember when I had my MCL repaired. going in, and it was, something that they had like 10 different clinics. And so they had very much corporatized it,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is the business model. This is what we do. And it just, I mean, the actual physical therapists were great.
Yeah.
But even they were, they were limited on what they could do because the model, right? And then there's the insurance overhang, which is just awful.
It's wrong.
It's so wrong. There's a reason why a CEO of a insurance company got taken out, and it probably didn't get as much empathy as most people getting assassinated would.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and again, not that that's not right. You shouldn't. Street justice doesn't work. That's not the way that. But people are sick and tired of being told by an insurance company, somebody at a call center that's just running algorithms and what the numbers are. Yes, this is the treatment that you do or don't qualify for. That is so much BS.
Yes.
How about you leave it in the hands of the patient and the professional that have an intimate relationship, that are on the ground working together to get that person healthy? That's the relationship that matters.
Yeah. It feels like insurance companies don't trust that doctors know what they're doing or that have patients' best interests at heart.
Right.
That's not a good feeling.
No, it's not a good feeling.
That's what we went to school for.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then to your point too, when you can spread that out to your employees and they know that you have their back and that you're empowering them to do what they're professionally trained to do and that I think is another really important point here is everybody has gifts, and you very clearly have found this is your gift. How do I bring this to the world? And you're bringing it to the world in such a beautiful, meaningful way.
Yay.
And again, right, it's life attracting life. That's just going to continue to snowball in the best way.
I'm so grateful for my patients and for this clinic. It feels like I did somehow find a job that I really love.
Yeah.
And I really do think I'm good at it.
You're so good at it. You are so good at it. Well, and I probably need to Google review you. I don't know if I've done this yet.
Do it.
I'm fired. Because I had a spot that I called my spot. Back to the mentality thing. I know, isn't that terrible? I know better. And I was doing the same thing. And it was chronic. I mean, I had it for a decade and a half. And it has not been an issue since you and I finished treatment.
Oh, I love that.
It's to me, it's crazy. So all the things that I know, all the, as holistic and health focused on all this stuff that I am, I'm like, yeah, I have this thing that's mine and I'm just going to hold on to it because
it is who I am now.
I think I even told you at one point, there's some of me that kind of enjoys it because it's like, I know this sounds weird. It was a spot on my low back, like between my spine and my hip. And it was just this and sometimes I just enjoyed digging in. I'm a masochist apparently.
Okay, that's
I like the pain as I'm spitting everywhere, getting a little excited about it. But yeah, because there was the exercises, there was the treatment, which I hate needles. I hate needles. You can do anything to me, but as soon as you're stabbing, unless it's a tattoo, that's another.
Somehow that's different.
Yeah. So I had 3 different stabbing experiments last year. A lot of them. You stabbing me, which was fantastic. Thank you for stabbing
dry
me.
Needling, just so everybody knows. I'm not just stabbing people.
Dr. David, he did microneedling on my scalp, which helped fill in a bald spot that I was developing, which was fantastic.
That's cool.
And tattooing, and I'm like, I never understood people that ended up saying, no, you're going to want more tattoos. Once you get one tattoo, you want another tattoo. And I'm at that point. It's been over 6 months since I got my last one. I'm like, I need to get stabbed again. I don't, it sounds psychotic. It's crazy. But okay, that was a weird rabbit hole. But yeah, that was, I was so glad that your expertise and listening to the patient, and here's this thing that science says is going to help. And sure enough, but I think more than that, more than the exercises, more than everything else, it was very clear that you cared and you were listening. And we were going to get it taken care of.
Well,
And
thank
that
you.
helped with my belief of this thing that I've gone to chiropractors for, this thing that I've gone to, massage therapists and all these other people that everybody just kind of said, yeah, if we do this, it might help. No, it was, I almost needed to like borrow your belief that it was going to work. And sure enough, it changed. That was definitely part of the psychological healing process of it. Yeah.
I believe that. Full disclosure, sometimes with patients, I have to act like I am even more positive that it's going to work than I necessarily feel.
Really?
Like I absolutely believe in the power of physical therapy, and
of course,
I know I can get people better, but sometimes people just need to be so reassured.
Yeah.
They need someone who is like really self-assured that this is going to work in order for them to feel assured. Kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to play that up.
Yeah. Did you play that up with me?
I don't think so. I was pretty sure. I was pretty sure for you. But there are people who have so many comorbidities, and it's been happening like their whole lives, and multiple fractures, multiple surgeries. All of those make things more complicated.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Well, because I mean, kind of that point with the ankle injury, right? You reinforce those neural pathways, and we are so used to, we adapt to our environment. And so if you don't know another way, you don't even know that it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and then you add on the comorbidities and everything, and it's a self-reinforcing tanglement.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I've had patients even cry when all I've done is just tell them that you are going to get better.
Oh.
And even just that, sometimes people at least tear up. I've had several people cry.
Yeah.
I don't think people say that. I don't think people, I mean, the stipulation behind that sentence for me should say, you're going to have to work really hard.
Right. Yeah. Because
really
you aren't,
It's not a pill that you can just take and get better.
No.
But you don't have to live this way.
Right.
And for some reason, our society just kind of is okay with pain as you age. We just kind of say, oh, well, that's just, aging is the worst.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be.
No. I want to live a good long life.
Yes.
But I would much rather live to 70 healthy and active than 90 and be miserable for those last 20 years. And there's only one way that that's going to happen. And that's if I take ownership of my health and I stay active, eat right, do all the things, right?
Yeah.
The
but
defeatism
who is out there
wild.
saying that if you have arthritis in your knee, then it just is going to hurt and that's okay?
Right.
Because that's a lie. Why aren't we telling people, if you have arthritis in your knee, you need to get stronger, that pain will go away?
Right.
Why does nobody say that?
Great question. What do you think the answer is? Why?
Well, there's part of me that thinks that it's all money driven.
Okay.
And that if people don't know that they can do exercises for free, then they will go seek out surgery.
Yeah.
And then after that, then they'll need, they'll need more follow-ups. They'll seek out medicine.
Yep.
Medicine will create more side effects. Then they'll seek out more medicine for that. Physical therapy has no side effects other than muscle soreness, which goes away and is pretty much harmless.
Yeah.
And
it's
can
a
make
good
pain
indicator,
go away.
actually.
I just think that there's too much money to be made off of sick people.
Well, and what this numbers, I'm sure, no, I don't think it's wrong. I was reading something about like the healthcare industry, the expenditure in the US is something like $4.5 trillion a year. And our federal budget is like 5 or 6, something like that. And so between, all that private money and insurance and just private pay and what's coming from the government and everything else, 4.5 trillion actually sounds pretty close.
Wow.
There's a lot of money to be made. And so, right. I mean, that's also, I'm sure, one of the reasons why, what do I want my kid to be? Well, attorney,
Totally.
Doctor, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get them in the medical field in some way, shape, or form. They'll do well. And we all want our kids to do well, but when the industry itself is, if you have healthy people, you would still have a preventative and you would have, you would still have an industry, obviously, because we're humans and we break things and we age and we do all that stuff. But when you have 70% of people are overweight, 40% are obese, there's some crazy stat on the comorbidities. There we go. That's the word that people have. we are just a chronically sick country.
Mhm.
There's a lot of money to be made there.
Unfortunately, yes. And for some reason, we're not telling people that they need to take some self-efficacy. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
They need to take it upon themselves to put in some effort to get better. Like, not everything is going to be as easy as popping a pill.
Right.
Or as easy as, well, people think surgery is easy. They think, oh, they'll just replace it and it'll be fine. But
Right.
the reality is you have to recover from that.
Right.
And there's all the effects of the anesthesia and the physical cuts and then the weakening and the stiffening. And
Yeah.
what's wild to me is that there are more and more studies coming out about how if we made physical therapy the entry point into the healthcare system,
Yeah.
you save money not only for the individuals, but also for the insurance companies.
Yeah.
I think there's just too much money to be made. I don't think that information will get disseminated anytime soon.
Right.
But physical therapy is direct access. You don't need a referral to come.
Oh,
Unless you have Medicare.
Right.
But let's say you do have Medicare, you can get a referral after the fact. We'll help you. We help.
Yeah.
So if people could have a pain, come to physical therapy, we'll screen, say, are you a good candidate for physical therapy? If not, then go to your doctor.
Right.
Okay, let's say you are a good candidate for physical therapy, which most people will benefit from physical therapy of some sort.
Yep.
By coming straight to PT, you're avoiding all of the money you would have spent on doctor's visits,
Yep.
which are shorter in duration and more expensive than physical
Oh,
therapy.
yeah.
You're avoiding imaging. Again, so expensive, doesn't really direct the plan of care within physical therapy a whole lot, aside
Right.
from maybe a fracture or something like that.
Right.
You're avoiding medications. That's a big
Yeah.
one. Medications have side effects too. Sometimes you're creating more problems than you're helping. Not always, but there is that train too.
Yeah.
If you can avoid all of those things and get into physical therapy sooner in your care so that you're getting out sooner with tools that'll then apply to the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Why
Why
in my mind
not?
it's like so clear. Why
You just
aren't
feel
we
like
doing
you're banging
this?
your head against
Yeah.
the wall. Why are we not
People,
doing it this
let
way?
me help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and things like medication, right? Typically people get on one and then there's a side effect, or because we're complex systems and you're messing with it,
Mhm.
too many variables,
Mhm.
it causes another issue. And guess what? There's another medication for that. And pretty soon you're on 5, 10, 15 medications.
Mhm.
Your family physician's not the right word.
Primary care.
That's the word. Primary care. Thank you. The average is something like they see you for 5 to 10 minutes. That's how do you get a read on? You spend an hour
Yeah.
each session with somebody.
Yeah.
And that 5-10 minutes, it's a couple minutes with the nurse beforehand where they're weighing you, pulling your blood, doing your blood pressure, maybe a couple questions. And then the doctor comes in 5 minutes and out. Like that form of healthcare makes zero sense.
I totally agree. And there's something about pharmacology. If you're just taking a pill and it's going to make it better, then you're not inspired to make any sort of lifestyle changes that might have gotten you into this predicament in the first place. Like maybe we shouldn't be able to just take a pill and then continue on our merry way.
No.
Maybe we should change things.
Well, and the goal should be fundamentally our bodies are capable of healing themselves.
Yes.
If you take the right steps.
Mhm.
And so often what we do in the medical field is Band-Aid.
Yes. Yes.
Band-Aid,
yes.
Band-Aid, Band-Aid. And pretty soon you're covered in Band-Aids. And guess what? Underneath those Band-Aids, you are still unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I totally agree.
It's kind of mind-boggling.
It's so exciting when you find someone who believes the way we do.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I'll have patients that'll seek me out and be like, I just don't think surgery is the right option for me. And I'm like, you're my person.
You're it.
You came to the right place.
Yes.
I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
You are ready to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
That is always so exciting.
Yeah.
Because you do get the opposite that walks into the clinic too. And they're like, my doctor said I have to be here 6 times before I can get surgery. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So
6 times to try and help this get this.
20 years of pain gone in 6 times. Well, let's see what we can do.
Yeah. But if you can get their beliefs, if you can get their mentality to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually seeing some benefits here. Yeah. So let's keep this going and let's not do surgery yet.
Right. Just hold off. What's the worst that could happen if you hold off?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is why PT is so fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, why would, well, and that's the best part because you wake up in the morning and you are excited to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love people.
Oh, yeah.
So more than more than just what my patients are actually coming in for. I really love getting to know people.
Yeah.
Learning about their families and their lives and their hobbies, and people are fascinating.
People are fascinating.
And we all are looking for people to connect with. So if I get an hour with you every week, that's a lot more time than you get with some of your friends.
Yes. It's true.
Sometimes we'll adopt patients on as friends after they're better.
I would, so two things there. One, I was going to ask is, I mean, with coming over here, because you've now been in Coeur d'Alene for how long?
2 years.
2 years, right? Trying to build community. You were talking about backcountry and how like the community doesn't really exist here like it did in Jackson. Have you put together like okay, we're going jogging every Saturday morning? Have you created invite some of your clients out to go swimming, to go?
No, I really haven't.
You should get a community.
What's funny about myself, I talk about how much I love people, but sometimes exercise is my time.
Oh yeah.
To not have to talk to anyone.
Yep.
I love people, but I get home at the end of a 10-hour day of talking to people for 10 hours straight.
Yeah.
And sometimes even Keaton, I'm like, I just need an hour.
Babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it used to be that he had a desk job. I would get home after my 10-hour day and he would talk for the first hour. And I would just sort of recover. And then after that, then I'm good to go
then you're
again.
great.
But
Yeah.
sometimes exercise is a time when it's just quiet. I just love the quiet portion of mountain biking and hiking and things. So sometimes I will do them socially.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I do. But I need time to just do it just me.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That's good.
Without Keaton. He knows.
He knows. I felt so bad because last night came home and Rachel did something really exciting and has this really cool thing she's working on. And she got done talking to me, telling me about it. And I'm like, that's really cool. That's great. She's like, that's it. What? And I felt so bad because I wasn't able to meet her level of enthusiasm. And it wasn't because I didn't think it was great. And it's not because I'm not proud of her and all those things, but I was just like, I've been working on an annual budget and I've been looking at deals and all I've been doing is numbers all day. And my brain is just,
yeah,
I need that hour. If you want me to be able to come up with like, if you want balloons and confetti and all the other things, I need to be able to reset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that quiet time, that peace time, the me time, the meditation time, it's good.
Yes.
I want to come back on that. But the other point I wanted to make is I was really kind of sad when my treatment ended with you because I was like, I need to come up with something else. I need to keep seeing Emily. What? Can I go twist an ankle? Can I? What do I do?
You don't have to do
that. I know we even with our networking group on a weekly basis, we get to say hi
it's rushed.
It's rushed. I need more Emily in my life. So,
well, we should hike. We should
hike. That would be a blast.
What outdoor hobbies do you have?
It's funny because I wish I'm envious that you and Keaton do those things together because I'm an Eagle Scout. I'd go camping.
Yeah.
I'll go do anything outdoors. I love hikes. I wish I did mountain biking. I think that's one of my limiting beliefs is I would get 10 minutes in and I'd fall off and I'd break an arm. So I think it's just doing it and reinforcing that I can do it.
Well, I'm just recognizing that you can fall and not get hurt, and you probably will fall.
Oh, I'll definitely fall. That was actually as a kid, I loved falling. I was like, I scraped up my knee again. Let's go.
Yeah, you kind of like learn how to do it.
Yeah, you learn how to fall. Yeah, that's true. Mountain climbing, rock climbing. I would totally get more into that. My upper body strength wasn't great for the longest time, but again, if you don't exercise it, like no wonder it's not great. I've been training with John.
Oh, good.
And I was like, yeah, I have my biceps. I want to get these bigger. And he's like, pull-ups. Okay, well, what about this? Pull-ups. What about my shoulders? Pull-ups.
They're so hard. Tall people.
I know we have longer leverage points, and we got long limbs.
It's a lot of body to have to try and get up to the bar.
I feel
you.
So
that's good. Are you doing pull-ups?
Oh yeah,
good.
Yeah. Which negatives? I was like, oh yeah, if you start at the top and lower yourself, that makes sense because then you're building a foundation, and then you go from there. All these little things. Right. That's why you go to the experts in the different fields to my brother is a trainer and he's been building my workouts for years. And then as soon as I actually have somebody physically there to say, have you tried this variation? Have you done this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has you doing that, but why? I'm like, I don't know, just have me doing it. I'm just doing it. So yeah, there's something really valuable in having that one-on-one time with somebody. But then back to your question of, I tend to be, I really like sports. So it could be basketball. I love golf. And when I can walk it instead of cart it, even better.
Yeah.
I love swimming.
Oh.
So I love being here because we're surrounded by water. And so there is not a day after work or a weekend where I'm not like, okay, let's go hike tubs and then find a point somewhere along the way where we get to just be in the water.
Nice. So open water swimming.
Oh yeah.
Like for distance? Like, have you ever done a...
No, not yet. I want to. I feel like I'm good at swimming, but I didn't have, swimming was not an option in high school. And so I didn't get like the doing laps and like getting really good at the breathing techniques. I can book it for a short distance, but then I'm like, and I'm dead.
Yeah, who invented a sport where you can't breathe and do it at the same time? Right. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah, this is brilliant. So that is because I would love to run one of the marathons, or that's
the triathlons.
The triathlons.
Yeah.
I think that because I love biking. I do love biking.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm going to invest a lot of money in a really nice bike one of these days.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
Nice. We should road bike.
That would be great. Yeah.
One of my favorite road bikes, just to go around Hayden Lake.
Oh yeah.
Pretty hard. Pretty fun.
Oh, I bet it is. Yeah. And I do love the uphill.
Yeah, me too.
There's like, when you get your butt off the seat and you're just like grinding away and it's like, I don't care if I'm getting just barely in it. I'm going. It's satisfying.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And then I do like to fly on the back end, but yeah, there is something really cool about conquering that mountain.
You get it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I don't like running. That would be the worst of it. I could swim, I could bike, all day, every day. Running has never been a love.
Oh, well, that might be
a problem.
A hard part of the triathlon then, because it's the last thing.
Yeah.
When you're already tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I'll learn to love it.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, and we just got a golden doodle.
Oh, I saw him.
Yeah. He's gonna need a lot of exercise. Right. And that's the weirdest time to get a dog, when
you're about to move.
Well, when you're about to, yeah, that, when you set down rules and you're like, we can totally get a dog, but we should wait until we move. That's a pretty, but look at what I found. He's so cute. We haven't moved yet, but he's available now. And look at how cute he is. Oh, I guess
you can't hold strong against that kind of reasoning.
No,
I get it.
Of course not. No, absolutely. But it's, I think there's something to the seasons, right? Like eating with what's available in the season. There's something very biological that makes sense there. And some health benefits. But I like winter's a hibernation time, and not that you shouldn't be active, but I've fought seasonal depression, and some of it was, I just want it to be sunny. I just want to be outside. I just want to do stuff. It's like, you can still go out on hikes and you can still enjoy being outside, but you can also sit by the fire and read a book. It's okay. And so with Leon, like, we aren't outside. He goes on 3 or 4 walks a day, but
that's great.
Yeah. But, we haven't gone on any crazy hikes yet. So I need to get on that.
Oh, that'll be so fun.
Yeah. And hopefully encourage me to run, because I would love to have a little buddy and just go run with him.
Well, the nice thing about running is that you can do it from anywhere.
Yes.
And it doesn't take a lot of investment to get into it.
Right.
That's part of why I love it. It's kind of like an anybody can do it kind of sport.
Yeah.
Whereas you get into skiing, you get into mountain biking, and there is a financial barrier of entry.
For sure.
That just doesn't exist with running.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's part of why I love watching running in the Olympics.
Oh,
you look at these runners that are so strong and capable from these tiny little countries.
Yeah.
And you know that their programs aren't as well funded as the big countries, but they're out there and they're running just as fast.
Slap some shoes on and go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Well, and that's why we are top of the food chain, right? Because we can go for long distances and tire out whatever that thing is that, it's faster than us, but its endurance is not.
Yeah.
And we can just go. And eventually we're going to get you.
Isn't
We
that
are
a crazy
the-
idea?
It's kind of
It
cool.
seems logical in theory, but could I really outlast an animal?
Right.
Sometimes I just think about the actual application of it.
Yeah.
I've heard it said that we could do that.
But well,
could
if the zombie apocalypse hits or something, I would like you on my team, because I have a feeling that yes, we could probably. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say we. I have a feeling that you could track down an animal.
I'll bike. I could probably outlast it on a bike.
Yeah, work smarter and harder, right? Yeah.
That's why we're the top of the food
Use
chain.
the right tools.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's totally it. I love how transitions happen. I wasn't sure how we were going to get here, but we are these amazing, amazing creations, right? The human body is just magic. Where did we come from? Why are we here? And where are we going, Emily?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is quite the question. Where did we come from? Where are we going?
And why are we here?
And why are we here?
Yeah. You said you had a Christian base.
Yes.
And so it sounds like maybe some of that has evolved.
Yes, I would say so.
What does that look like?
What makes this question so complicated?
Yes. Yeah. Which is why I love it, because it very much is a part of how you do life and how you view reality and how you approach things.
All right. Well, let's just dive right into that one.
Dive in.
I absolutely believe in God,
Yeah.
but I believe that humans are fallible.
Yeah.
So as I've been in the world, I have come to approach organized religion with a little bit more discerning thought.
Ooh, that's a good way of saying it.
So I just think that the rules that religion has created, and even sometimes I read some of the stories in the Bible, and I just wonder if they haven't gotten a little lost in the context of the time and the years of translation.
Yeah.
But it all just comes back to that I believe in God, and I believe that we are his main commandment is just to love one another.
Yeah.
And that it's not our job to judge each other.
Yeah.
It's not our job to boss each other around, tell each other what to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're in my physical therapy clinic. And then you have to
listen to everything she says.
But
Do not deviate.
In my opinion, it just all comes back to we just need to have compassion and love for other human beings.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, comes from God.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I'm a little less sure about.
Yeah.
And I'm open-minded. So I'm not saying with certainty that none of it is true.
Right.
I'm just saying that I am only really certain about God and loving people.
Yeah. That's a pretty good foundation. Well, and would you have said when you were 12, 15, I don't know what the age is. Yep. Or was there a little bit more, nope, we're supposed to do it this way?
I was like all in Bible all the time.
And were you guys non-denominational or?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah. We hopped around from denomination to denomination a little bit.
Yeah.
And I probably resonated the most with non-denominational.
Yeah.
Probably because they sort of do get back to this idea of let's
get to
not
the
get
base.
bogged down in the rules. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's just love each other.
Yeah.
But you still see some condemnation pretty much in any denomination.
Yeah.
You see some hierarchies or prejudices that I just don't think God would approve of.
Yeah.
I think God loves everyone.
Yeah.
So I know that there are flaws to that. There are the murderers of the world, and
well, right,
I'm
the fallibility,
still figuring
right?
all that out. I don't know. And the answer is that I just don't know. So I'm not going to impose rules or beliefs onto other people if I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you bring that one up because, 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, right? And there's a reason, I think there's a reason why that's like really besides eating of the tree, the first sin really talked about is Cain and Abel, right? Murder. Okay, so like morality wise and the way that humanity is supposed to function, there's the right extremisms again of, yep, the Bible 100% infallible, Word of God, have to believe everything in it. And then there's there's some really good lessons in the Bible, and there's a reason why that book is the most popular, most consumed book, and it's because it teaches things that, yeah, these are some pretty good things to live by.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm with you there.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole killing thing, maybe we shouldn't do it.
For sure.
Yeah.
There seem to be some black and white things.
Right. Except, and this is why I'm bringing this up, because I think it's interesting, is you have a lot of, even the Bible does this, justification for killing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, oh yeah, these are God's enemies. Why shouldn't you? So, yep, you guys are commanded by God to go kill. Well, hold on. I was just commanded by God not to kill.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
So then it's okay, well, is this something that is godly and it's righteous and we're supposed to go smite our enemies? Or no, we're supposed to love each other, and so we shouldn't be killing. So when do I justify it? When do I not justify it? Oh, am I part of the right denomination or the right thing that says yes? It's just there's some of that in there that I that's when I just kind of step back and watch and go,
Yes. Yeah. You can dive into the Bible and find some really interesting stories that can support things that you would consider being a teaching of God, or support the opposite of what you would consider being a teaching of God.
right.
And so some of that discrepancy in the Bible is part of why I think it's hard. I think religion is hard in that regard.
Yeah.
Because you can't just say, this is the word of God, because there are some words in there that are pretty interesting.
Right.
So to nitpick pieces of it, that feels wrong to me.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's why I've just kind of stepped back and just said, all right, let's just take a big picture look.
Yeah.
The golden rule is just to love one another. I can do that.
Yes.
And I still believe in God.
Yes. And I kind of have that, like, we are supposed to love each other, right? Love God, love each other. 2 great commandments. There it is. If everybody lived that way, probably living a much more peaceful planet. But then we also have that discernment and that ability to say, Jesus hung out with sinners and all the things, and ye without sin cast the first stone, right? So there's I'm not the judgment piece. I don't know what it's like to walk a mile in your shoes. So how am I going to sit back here and say, you're wrong? That doesn't make any sense to me. But there's also that piece of, maybe if this person keeps making wrong choices or is living a lifestyle that something doesn't vibe with me, I can love that person, but I'm not gonna, this isn't gonna be my new best friend that I do everything with.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
There's some of that discernment of what is good to invite into my life and what am I gonna I'm not gonna participate. And so I think there's a piece of that in there too.
Yeah, it's all so tricky because I feel like I learned a lot of who I am from my pretty strict Christian upbringing.
Yeah.
A lot of my sense of morality comes from what I learned through the church.
Right.
I love the sense of community that's within the church.
Yeah.
So it's tricky when I think about having kids someday.
Right.
I want them to be good moral individuals who are able to connect themselves into a community and be well socialized and understand right and wrong. And if I learned that in the church, what do you do with, I don't know.
Well,
so many questions.
So that's what Rachel and I've run into, right? Because we were raised LDS. And so when we left the church, Gabe was, how old is he now? 13. So he was 10. And obviously the other kids were younger. Mel was a baby. And that was our main question is, hold on, this actually, we don't agree with the teachings anymore. And we've grown and changed and evolved and all that stuff. But there was good here. The community is fantastic. Good people. And we got a lot of our morality out of this. Okay, wait. Did this just reinforce the morality that we already had? Or do you have to learn it this way? Or how do you raise good, social, loving, well-adapted, moral children?
Yes. This is the question that I need you to answer.
Yeah. Well, but I think that's just it. There's, and I think that comes with a lot of, because we are fallible. right? Like to me, we have our souls, and those are light and love and good. And then we got these physical bodies, this biology where really fundamentally might makes right. I mean, that's how nature works, right?
Yeah.
If you are the alpha, you are the bigger, stronger animal, you are the whatever, you're eating the smaller thing. And so if I'm bigger, stronger, tougher than you, why shouldn't I take the thing from you? Why, right? It's good for my survival. That is my lizard brain, my whatever. That's that. So that makes it right. Okay. But then you have your soul that's telling you, love each other.
Yeah.
And so, we are a conglomeration of competing whims.
Yes, that is an interesting way to say it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I think you and Keaton are going to end up being fantastic parents because you are good people.
Well, and we're good at talking things through.
Yeah.
So
critical thinkers. Yeah.
We recognize the importance of these questions, which I think is valuable in and of itself.
Right.
So I think we'll do all right.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't ask this question. Do you have a plan there? what?
Let me just broadcast it. And then when you ask Keaton the same question, we'll see if it's the same.
We'll see if it's the same. Yeah.
I think within the next year, we'll think more seriously about that whole topic.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So
but it is the plan.
It is the plan.
Yeah.
It's not immediate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yet. We really want to just do one last hurrah of some travels and things.
Yeah.
Before we start down that road. My sister has a beautiful 1.5-year baby girl.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've been able to watch firsthand. Keaton has no siblings. I have one sister. So
right, yeah. For Keaton, it's going to be an adventure. Yeah.
These are our front row tickets to watch what parenting a newborn looks like.
Yeah.
And it looks hard. And it looks amazing, but it looks hard. And so we would love to just have one last hurrah before we buckle down.
Yeah.
And do that.
Because it's life-changing.
So we've heard. And it seems.
Yeah, but I get the sense, like we have friends that it didn't matter. Their kids had no bedtime, and kind of wild children. But they're going to China. Kids are coming to China. We're going backpacking. Kids are on our backs. I don't know if you can rock climb with the baby on your back. That doesn't seem like the safest option.
That sounds really hard.
But it's just a little bit more. It's good.
This is heavy enough.
Yeah. At first? What's 8 pounds? What's 12? What's 20? You're gonna be fine, Emily.
We've talked about mountain biking with kids.
Yeah.
You see those little seats? You can set them in front of you.
Yeah.
That'll probably happen.
That'll be a blast. Yeah. You'll be you. I don't think you'll actually have to change too many of the activities you do, and you're just going to end up raising these super babies, which is going to be fantastic.
I hope so. They could be really cool humans.
Yeah.
To get started at a young age. Keaton and I kind of both got started in our 20s, but if you could get started even younger.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like my son with drumming. He started at 9, and he's better than I am. I'm like, I've been playing for 2 decades, you jerk. Why? But kids just adapt and soak everything in. And I think that's where people get into trouble is, yes, you're introducing this whole new element into your life, and it's its own creature, right? Like each kid is different. But you're going to get advice from so many different, you have to do it this way. Oh, bedtime needs to be this way. Oh, they need to eat this way. Oh, you need to do this. And shut up. Everybody, especially if you don't have kids, shut up. If you have kids, shut up. There's some good pieces of advice, but the way that you do life and the way that kid ends up wanting to do life, it's going to get figured out. You'll figure it out. And the more strict and the more this is the way it has to be, the more you're going to be fighting against it, and it's going to be miserable. So I think that's, so maybe I should tell myself to shut up, but that's my piece of advice is just do the thing that you're going to do and love it and enjoy it.
That is really good advice. We've watched my sister, and she is a phenomenal mother.
Yeah.
She is very regimented with sleep times and nap times, and her daughter is so well behaved, and she goes to bed and she sleeps through the night.
Oh yeah. Every parent's wish.
There is so much value to having that structure in a young kid's life.
Well, and sleep begets sleep, and
Yeah, I don't think until I watched her example, I don't think I really understood just how important all of that is.
Yeah.
And just how wonderfully her daughter is becoming this very capable little human.
Yeah. It's the best.
I think if I hadn't seen that, I would be tempted to be like, nap times are interfering with us going on this hike. She'll sleep on my back. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I can see the value to that now. So if I had to guess, I probably won't be able to be as regimented as my sister is, but I can see that I need to at least rein myself in a little bit.
Right.
On that whole front.
And like my 4 kids, trying to get them to go to bed, it is, guys, it's bedtime. You have to go to bed. You have to do this. Naps, we had regimented naps, but then that, eventually they grow out of naps. But they would not sleep unless we got them to sleep. My sister-in-law, her kids would fall asleep on car rides, and they'd be watching TV and they'd fall asleep, and they were just always napping. And I'm like, how? Some kids just like sleep. And that was me. It would be 5 o'clock at night. I'd be grabbing my blanket and my teddy bear and walking to my room, and my mom's like, you can't go to sleep yet. You need to stay awake. Stop trying to sleep. And so I think that's right. Every kid is unique.
Yeah.
And so are you going to get a napper, one that just loves sleep? Or are you going to get one that you're like, if we don't regiment this out, this child would just be awake 24/7? You never know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You're going to have to adapt.
We'll see.
That'll be fun. I'm excited. How many do you want?
Probably 2.
2's good.
Yeah.
2's a good number.
I think Keaton would be happy with 1.
Yeah.
But I really believe that if you've never had a sibling, then you just don't know how much a sibling contributes to your life.
Yeah. Do you love your sister?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine having grown up without her. She and I did everything together.
Yeah.
You
had a built-in best friend.
Yes. All of my best memories have her there right beside me.
Yeah. That's so good.
I can't imagine having to do that solo.
Yeah.
But Keaton said he just had friends in the neighborhood and he was just always hanging out with friends,
yes.
which Abby and I were pretty self-sufficient as the 2 of us. We did have some friends in the neighborhood, but the 2 of us could do everything. All day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think 2, Keaton would probably be happy with 1, but.
Yeah. But you see the benefit to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. We'll get Keaton on board.
Good luck.
Do you care? Boy, girl? Boy, girls?
No.
Boys, girls?
I don't care. There is what we've talked about where I really relate to people via physical activity.
Yeah.
So, of course, I wonder, boy or girl, if their passions are video gaming, how am I going to relate to this kiddo? I'm sure I'll figure it out. But I would love to have an athletic kid.
Yeah.
Regardless of whichever gender.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
That was hard for me because Gabe, right, I'm like, I got my boy. This is great.
Yeah.
We're going to do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
0 interest. There was, I was like, okay, 5, we're doing soccer. We're doing basketball. We're doing t-ball. He's the kid playing soccer that's standing over there picking daisies while the kids are all congregating around the soccer ball. Okay. So he doesn't like soccer.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm like, what? I love him. He's great. But what do we do together? And then all of a sudden when he started playing the drums, I'm like, oh, I got a music kid.
Oh,
this is awesome. So yeah, again, right. They all come out and they've got, but right. That's the nurture versus nature piece that always fascinates me is if you have a house full of video games, what the heck do you expect the kid to do? They're going to do video games. If you guys are always out doing some fun adventure, that is the environment that they're brought up in. And that is the only reality that they know. That's what they're going to do.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds more controllable than I would think.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah. Unless you just like get this total bookworm that could be sitting under a tree reading a book the entire time, which that would be fantastic too.
I do like to read. I guess I could relate to that.
There you go. Okay. So I think probably close to wrapping up, but a couple other questions. Did we answer the why question? So we're here to love, and there is a God, but why are we hanging out? What are we doing? What's the point of life?
The point of life.
Yeah.
What if I just don't know the answer to that?
That's great.
Do you have an answer to that one?
I think it's growth. I think we're here to just keep becoming better, experienced versions of ourselves. I think that to me is at least failure. If I was the same 5 years from now as I am today, what the hell was I doing?
Yeah.
And so I think there's something in that need to grow, to be challenged, to refine myself. I think there's purpose in that.
Maybe also empowerment,
For sure.
to be able to help empower other people, or to, via your growth, empower yourself
Yeah.
to learn what you're really capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think that's really well said. Yeah. I like that. What do you think happens after we die? Where do you go?
I believe in heaven.
In heaven? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea of the LDS heaven where there really is no hell.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
pretty convenient.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do believe in heaven.
What does that look like?
When I think about it, I just go back to what I was taught as a kid.
Yeah.
And just that it is just the most perfect place, and that you are no longer stuck in your earthly body.
Yeah.
I love that idea
Yeah.
of trying to keep your body as fit and happy as you can, but inevitably you're aging as you go. And then when you finally die, you get to go to heaven, and you get to be free of all of the stiffness, all of the pain, all of the fatigue.
Yeah.
To be free of all of that.
Sounds pretty good.
It sounds light. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there mountain biking?
Probably. But would it have to be different if you didn't have a body?
Right.
Maybe you don't need a mountain bike. Maybe you can climb mountains way more effortlessly as just whatever form you are.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I love that. Well, and that's a good point. The health thing's always kind of fascinated me about you have this loving God, Father, Creator, Source, however you view it, something that saw fit to create you.
Mm-hmm.
And you screwed up so badly that for the rest of eternity, fire and brimstone and getting stabbed by a little devil with a pitchfork. That doesn't sound.
I know.
Seems like there would be some form of redemption in there. Some kind of, maybe you did make a lot of bad choices, but if my kid makes a ton of bad choices, and this is one of the Christian arguments or any religious argument that kind of drives me crazy. Well, your mentality is not the same as God's mentality. Well, but I lovingly created something, and I don't care how far off base that thing gets. I'm going to want to love it and find a way to get it back to a healthy place.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sure that metaphor is even more powerful as a parent.
Yeah.
But if they tell us that God is all loving and all knowing and all powerful, then why would people go to hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially people as simple as people that just don't know him.
Right.
Like, it's one thing, again, to be a murderer, coming back to that example.
Right. Yeah.
But it's another thing to just not know God and then be sent to hell for that.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That
I'm sorry you were born in some tribe, and I don't know. It fascinates me that there's still tribes that like have zero outside contact, that are still hanging around in like loincloth and chucking spears.
Mm-hmm.
You get born into that and you never hear anything, any religion, and yep, you're going to hell. What? I didn't even get a shot. I
or
got
even
nothing.
Just like good people that are all around us. Even people that are good but maybe aren't Christian.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of my LDS things. Was there's now I think there's now technically 17 million of them in the world. We got 8 billion people on this planet. You're telling me that you 16, 17 million people are the only ones? I don't know about that. That math doesn't add up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one question that I did want to get to, and then my final question. What's the hardest thing? What's the biggest thing you've had to overcome in your life? What's the thing that really got to you?
I think one of the moments that I changed the most. So my parents got a divorce when I was going into my senior year of high school.
Oh yeah.
And that I actually am so grateful for that really hard period of time, because it again challenged me. So I grew up with this family unit. My parents did a very good job of masking any sort of marital discontent.
They didn't bring it to you
us.
kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were in a little bubble once again. And I just thought that if you were good people, then you would just have a happy marriage and you would have a happy family. And then the reality came to light. And I think reality is really a good word for it. I just learned the truth about how the world works. And the truth, like the ugly side of people exist. Even if they look nice and shiny, even if they look nice and shiny on the outside, there are oftentimes secrets underneath that can even destroy a family. And I think the reality of how to make a relationship actually work, the fact that my parents got divorced has helped me interact with people outside of the little bubble in my life, and is probably helping my marriage now.
Yeah. How would you describe that? What do those machinations look like? Or approaches? It just
helped me think critically about what I wanted in a relationship.
Okay.
And what a relationship should look like, how important communication is. I think this sounds so silly, but I really just thought that if you were a good person and you found another good person, then you were going to be happily married.
Good people together.
You were going to have good little kids.
Yep.
And that is so naive, and I'm so grateful that I'm no longer that naive.
Yeah.
So though my parents' divorce was so hard, I grew so much from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that? I take it you still think your parents are good people?
I do.
I
adore my mom. She's my very best friend.
She is fantastic, by the way. It was so lovely meeting her. And you were like a spitting image of. She is just a lovely lady.
She is so strong and so smart. And I adore her. Yeah. And I adore my stepdad. I call him my dad. Yeah. He's also amazing. He's the one that taught me how to mountain bike. He helped me get into skiing. Yeah. He has just opened the world to me. Yeah. And so I love them.
That's so cool.
Much.
And they're here now.
And they're here. And my sister and her husband are here. So all of us are here.
Yeah, you
all
got
of
your
us,
people.
this side of the family are here.
Yeah.
And
you were the
so
forerunner,
nice.
right? You got
I was.
Yeah, look at that. Trendsetter.
The leader.
The leader. Yeah. That's so good.
So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for my mom and the strong example that she set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit distant from dad?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think it's healthier this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, right? Who are the people? I'm always amazed at the different seasons of life and how people come in, people come out, people that you think you're going to have forever. And then, oh, I don't. Well, why? Oh, because to me, you seem very tactile in the way that you interact with the world. Everything's music and vibration. And I'm like I'm tapping into whatever that like heartbeat of everything is. That's what I feel. And there's just sometimes when two instruments are playing and they're out of tune, you don't want them together. Mm-hmm. Right? That is just, nobody wants to listen to it. Nobody's enjoying it. The people playing it aren't enjoying it. People listening aren't enjoying it. Something needs to happen. At a minimum, them being together is the thing that needs to stop. So either the one that's out of tune needs to get in tune, both of them being out of tune, they both need to fix it, or they just need to separate. Yeah. And I think that's how the people coming in and out of our lives work. We just are vibing differently, or we're vibing together.
Mm-hmm. And maybe there are just certain instruments that just don't go well together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very good point. If you were an instrument, what would you be?
I played flute for a lot of years.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always really enjoyed that.
Flute's great.
Yeah.
Did you ever do piccolo?
No.
No? I always like, man, that thing's so little.
Would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Flute works. Flute makes sense.
I like it. It's light and airy. It's fun. It can be playful.
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can take it anywhere.
Yeah. There you go.
It's very adventurous. Interesting. Okay. So this is one of my favorite questions, my last question. And actually, before I get to the last question, is there anything that you wanted to talk about or get out there that I haven't asked?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay. All right. So the final question is, if you had a megaphone that could reach everybody, what would your message to them be?
Move your bodies. As silly as that is, I really think that movement helps us in so many ways. Yeah. And I have to believe that even if I wasn't a physical therapist, I would be active and trying to help people around me be active. Yeah. And then just add on the physical therapy component, add on all the research that I read every day that is just so compelling about activity helping our brains and our bodies and our emotions. I think if I could just tell people to move their bodies, it would fix so many problems.
Yeah.
A whole span of problems.
I love it. Move your bodies.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be really hard. You don't have to bike up a mountain. Just go for a walk.
Yeah.
It helps depression. It helps low back pain. There's so many things.
Yeah.
As simple as that. It can be a social activity. It can be a solo activity. It gets you out. It gets maybe some sunlight.
Yeah. That's another big one.
Yeah. There's so many things just to move. If you're not a walker, then you can do yoga. Even breath work isn't a lot of movement per se, but
it's getting you in touch
working your body. Yeah.
Cool. All right, people. Listen to Emily. She's great. Move your body. All right, Emily, this has been fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
This was great.